agreement we're going to have, a legal agreement, is that I'm not going to interfere in how you use these clips and use your creativeness. I won't. All I care about is the truth, that nothing's edited out, that my words are not changed, the meaning of my words are not changed to formulate a response that you want or anybody else wants out there. No, my response is my response. The importance of all this is very easy to understand. Joseph Smith didn't have this technology. And obviously there are some he's got critics and enemies that say things about him. Robbie, you gonna hold that the whole time? You wanted to set it down. That's gonna be tough for you, 4 hours of holding that thing?
Yeah.
No, I do it all the
Unless
time.
you want to, okay. Anyway, so Joseph Smith's critics and enemies have written things about him and have contradicted him in things. Well, they should, because there's many things about Joseph Smith's life and what he did that to a person who studies that history are very contradicting. And he didn't have a voice. He didn't have an opportunity to sit down and be transparent and talk about these things. But we do, and I do. And that's the importance of this. He once said, "No man knows my history." I want everybody to know my history because I don't care. I couldn't care less what people know about my life because I'll tell them the truth. And what they come up with after hearing my side of the story will always be their truth. It doesn't matter what I say. Those who don't want to believe that I tell the truth will always think that I'm lying. Now, a video is a cool thing because generally on a video you can watch a person's actions in their face and get a good sense about what they're like. I have no scripts. I tell the truth. I'll tell the truth about what happened and why I did the things that I did. But it's very important that a biography be written with objective tone. And like I said, I'm hoping that things that I talk about, people that I talk about in my past, that they would give Robbie an interview. I doubt they're going to, because they're afraid of the real truth. I know they are. They're afraid of how they will appear when giving their ideas and their perspective of what happened. But see, it doesn't matter what really happened. All that matters is the perspective of the person who's telling the story and the one who's hearing the story. The perspective of the one telling the story can be completely different than the one hearing the story. Because everybody's got their filters, they're going to take it however they want. But the most important thing for the marvelous working of wonder and for me as a person, as a human being, is that I get the opportunity to tell my story with my own voice, to counter the bullshit and the bunkidity, as I call it, that's out there on the internet and given by people who make things up, who have distorted things and created a Pandora's box of evil, making me out to be a monster, a manipulator. So if anybody cares to know me, anybody cares to investigate what this man's all about, they simply need to listen to me, listen to my own words. They can determine for themselves whether I'm lying or not. But at least I'm videotaped. And it's on videotape. And you guys won't be able to take something that I said and turn it into a subjective relation of an event in my past or an event in my life. However, I don't mind if there's some narrative that you put together, Robbie, that gives the other side of the story from their perspective. Because then a person can determine for him or herself who's telling the truth. That's what this is all about. Oh, can you imagine if Joseph Smith had this opportunity? But if he did, then the critics would have had their platform to ask him certain questions. For example, why didn't you tell people the truth about the so-called first vision for many, many, many years? And you gave distorted stories about what happened to you when you were a teenager. What's that all about? They never gave him the opportunity to explain that, and he probably wouldn't have. He probably said, well, I plead the fifth on that because of the role that he was playing. My role is 100% transparency. So as we go about this biography, you're going to learn many things about Joseph Smith's life, his perspective, as well as mine, to understand certain things that confuse people, certain things that I might have said, certain things that I might have done. So the importance of this is simply to be fair with the perspective of who Christopher Nemelk is and what the Marvelous Working and Wonder is all about. Because a lot of people judge the Marvelous Working and Wonder and what it produces, the fruit that it produces, on the messenger who produced it, on the farmer who produced it. But I say this to anyone. A farmer can drink and smoke and cuss and party all night with whomever he wants, but if he goes out in that field and produces some great fruit, some great food, and it tastes good, what the heck does a person, who cares what type of farmer he is? I mean, who cares in personal life? He's a great farmer. And that's the problem my critics have. They hardly, if ever, cut down the work, the books, the humanity party, the things that we're trying to accomplish. But they come after me. But why do they come after me? Why? Why do they spend any time at all coming after me? Because if I'm right, then they're wrong. And that's a huge ego buster for a lot of people. So, with the biography and everything being taped, one can determine for oneself what's right and what's wrong, what one wants to accept as the truth or not. So with that, I don't know exactly where you guys are going to go with your questioning, the chronological order. We've got many months. You guys are going to be over here once a month for 4 hours. And Robbie, with his intense detailness, he's going to be able to put things together, and then if I miss something or something doesn't quite make sense, you can come back the next time and tie it in. Ask a follow-up question. Well, we want to know what happened here and this. Kind of like me being on the stand in court of law. You're going to want to tie everything together. And then when you produce your final version, you can put it together like, well, okay, here's what he said at this time, here's what's going on. What I like about this is I have no problem about being recorded on video. My enemies, they have a problem. Big problem. Why? Why? That's the first question that any sound, reasonable, honest person needs to ask themselves. Why is Christopher so transparent that he's willing to be taped about everything that he's done, anything that he said, yet his enemies won't be taped? Why? Well, I can't answer for people. All I can do is tell my side. So with that said, it's your guys' responsibility to get this stuff out of me. You see?